I got my hand.
There is still.
Right here.
Oh, wow.
I got my hand past my wrist, I'm thinking of that. And I said, well, my boy, that's good, it's not a joke. And you guys said, ain't nobody gonna pull up into the toilet yet. I said, that's great. There she is. I don't know why she came down. That happened
There is.
My frame's fairly well. All right. We're going to be starting in just a moment. I'm giving you the pre-announcements. The announcements shall follow this. This is the pre-announcements. Obviously, I wouldn't say pre. Anyway, I'm Dan Brady, the host of this place here for the moment. Thank you. Thank you. My mother thanks you. My father thanks you. My brothers, sisters, cousins, best friends, second grades, teachers, next door neighbors, best friends, mailmans, uncles, second cousins, first wife, twice removed. Thanks you.
I saw that movie.
Thank you. Somebody can recognize. Anyway, David Erdreich is going to come up and do the announcements and the prop one, but I wanted to make a very tiny announcement here. I'm working on something a little bit new, and not right, well, it is right. But you know that in San Francisco, I have a calendar of the open mics in San Francisco. And in the East Bay, there's kind of like a calendar being worked on for the open mics in the East Bay. But I thought to myself, I said, what would be like, start again. I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool to have a global open mic? Because there are lots of venues in the world that are weekly and they stream. Yet when I looked for such a list, there wasn't one. So I'm in the process of making that happen, and I'll be passing the word around that from time to time. And so if you happen to know, like in Philadelphia or Toronto or Berlin or wherever, they go, well, I know this streaming open mic. You should let me know about that when you have a chance to, and we'll take care of that. Anyway, I'm going to sit down now so that I can rest my voice. And the wonderfully talented and eminently presentable David Erdreich is going to come and do the announcements and the prop one, which hasn't been read here in some long time. Give a round to his man here.
Sit down.
Sit down with this hand.
Sacred's checklist.
Thank you. Check.
Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady. That's the current host of the longest running open mic in the known, unknown, and semi-permeable universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Teddy and Fiona, our hosts. Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink here, served here, and paying for it. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome. So we ask you to respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put phones on mute. Put mutes on phones or vibrate, and don't disturb the speaker or walk in front of them.
No matter how disturbed they are.
Also, keep to the time limit, usually 5 minutes, but that can change. It might be eternal. Here I ask for your generosity. I do. I like to get everyone on the mic. If you can take the weight. And we have two shows. The first just after 7, the second after about 8:30. After the feature. If you...
Sorry.
It's okay. Gremlins. If you want to know what's going on here, good luck. Yeah. Ask about the opt-in email list or the Facebook group. Please note our streaming link. It's handy 5 ways. Number 1, first you can view in from your devices at home. Number 2, also family or friends can see you live or later on. Number 3, if you want to hear so-and-so's poem again, Jackie so-and-so, Eddie so-and-so, or their long-lost cousin Billy so-and-so.
And Dolores so-and-so.
Dolores so-and-so. Or DeLorean so-and-so. Any other so-and-so? Are there any other so-and-sos here? You can! Why, you can!
Yes,
Number 4, want to do a self-critique? You fool! Of course. If you really want to, it's there for you. And number 5, of course, is a way to put out the word. Yours, mine, ours, minutes, seconds, the word in the beginning. And that brings us to the ongoing theme. Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead, the evening's theme is?
Oh, the evening theme is light.
Light.
Just so you know.
Poetry light.
Yes.
Also, next week's feature will be Don't Tell Me!
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Not sorry.
Do I know you?
No, you can't buy my introduction back to me.
Okay. Now, as to the first show, tonight's keynote will be...
Oh, the list is over there. Tonight's keynote is Owen Dunkel.
Owen Dunkel! Our feature is...
Will Crossman, who is not in the house yet.
Will Crossman is not here.
But he will be. He said so.
Who'll give the Queen's Wave.
If he was here.
What, is this the... What's this? Is this the Queen's Wave?
No, this
okay.
for crying out loud.
This.
No,
Okay.
not this.
Is it this?
Is this the wrist?
Is it this one?
That's
This is it. No. It's British. Tommy, it's this in Britain. You get a lot more energy into this than this is just, nothing. This, you get a little twist.
Okay.
Let's
roll it along.
Okay, I'm sorry. Queen's Wave for the second show. The last word will be...
The last word is Britt Peter, who begins the second half and ends the second half. And Rob, in case you're going to ask, is the mini feature.
Rob, I'm going to ask, is the mini feature. He's also not here.
But he will be. He
will be. Now, our fabulous door prizes.
They're not as fabulous as they usually are, but these are fabulous.
Downplaying it.
Yes, Port Stelia.
Easy for you to say.
This is a community college poetry manuscript from, I'm trying to see the year on here, but it looks like from the 70s, just so you know.
1870.
Yeah,
right.
Thebes.
Okay.
Now this is by Dale Jensen, an East Bay poet who's really good. He does events over there, so this is a great one. Pacifica Poems 2 by Anna Booth, also someone I've heard of, but way back when, so this is cool. Now, if you're sick and tired of calendars, that's too damn bad because I got two calendars here. Treasures of Wildlife. This is 2018, 2019, in case you're delayed. And this is a 16-month calendar, including 2019, the Wilderness. Now, if you like mythos, and things like, what's that guy, the trilogy? Tolkien. This book is a fan magazine from way back when that goes into details about strange things.
Hit or myth.
Yeah, it's a hit or myth. I like that guy. And then, and then if you want to be the keynote, at the end of the day, end of the evening, this is one of the prizes.
I want to be the keynote.
The last word, which
maybe the last word.
begins the second half, ends it. The mini feature
I could be the mini feature.
comes in the second half. Co-pilot
Or the
sits here
co-pilot.
and makes sure I don't make the kind of mistakes that everybody goes, and did it again. And then choosing the theme or prompt. Last week, someone picked light, as opposed to the ongoing theme, which he mentioned.
Which is heavy. Okay.
Yes.
So,
All right.
Proposition 1, the end of warfare, whereas warfare is the worst of all crimes in that it embodies, encourages, and rewards all others, whereas the definition of war as used at the Nuremberg trials is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, the standing down of all military forces, and universal disarmament. Further, let it be known, we, the people, the party of the first part, state by our assertion at this time and place that we stand opposed to the existence or use of military force as we know it. All those in favor of proposition, please signify.
Hear, hear.
All those opposed? Abstentions?
Abstentions?
One abstention.
Yes. It also wouldn't be democratic.
Please note, proposition 2 is being designed.
Yes. It's
In
a
a
long
different
time in
universe.
coming. All right. So, and that takes care of everything. Thank him. Give him a round there. He was very brave to do all that. And we're going to begin with the keynote, Mr. Owen Dunkel. He comes up and he reads a poem by someone else, and then he comes back for the open at some point and reads his own things. That's how the keynote so-called works. Give him a round of applause as he comes up here, please. Okay, leave it there, because I'm going to focus on you there. There we go. And just tilt it a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I've,
I'll fix that. I'll fix that.
It's been acting up all the evening. I spanked it earlier on. It doesn't work very well with the microphone. Jeez, they just don't like it. Go. I know. You know.
thank you.
Spank me again, please.
Okay, I've chosen to read a poem by T.S. Eliot called Rhapsody on a Windy Night. 12 o'clock along the reaches of the street, hell faces of the dark midnight shakes the memory as a madman shakes a dead geranium. 1:30, the street lamp sputtered, the street lamp muttered, the street lamp said, regard the woman who hesitates towards you in the light of the door which opens on her like a grin. You see the border of her dress is torn and stained with sand, and you see the corner of her eye twisted like a crooked pin. The memory throws up high and dry a crowd of twisted things, a twisted branch upon the heads, upon the beach, eaten smooth and polished as the world gave up the secret of its skeleton. Hat stiff and white, a broken string in a factory yard, rust that clings to the form that the strength has left, hard and curled and ready to snap. 2:30, the street lamp said, remark the cat which flattens itself in the gutter, slips out its tongue, and devours a morsel of rancid butter. So the land of the child automatic slipped out and pocketed a toy that was running along the quay. I could see nothing behind that child's eye. I have seen eyes in the street, trying to peer through lighted shutters, and a crab one afternoon in a pool. An old crab with barnacles on his back gripped the end of the stick which I held him. 3:30, the lamp sputtered. The lamp muttered in the dark. The lamp hummed, regard the moon, la lune ne garde aucun rançon. She winks a feeble eye. She smiles into corners. She smooths the hair of the grass. The moon has lost her memory. A washed-out smallpox cracks her face. Her hand twists a paper rose, the smell of dust and eau de cologne. She is alone with all the old nocturnal smells that cross her brain. The reminiscence comes of sunless giant geraniums and dust in crevices, smells of chestnuts in the streets, and female smells in shuttered rooms, and cigarettes in corridors, and cocktail smells in bars. The lamp said 4 o'clock. Here is the number on the door. Memory, you have the key. The little lamp spreads a ring on the stair. Mount. The bed is open, the toothbrush hangs on the wall. Put your shoes on the floor. Sleep, prepare for life. The last twist of the knife. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. Here's the attribution sheet. I handed him the attribution sheet, so if you ever read something by someone else, I hand you that, so that way you can give me the name of the poem and the poet, and that way I don't always write Charge of the Light Brigade by Henry William Carlos Bogdanovich von Hohenheim, who is actually a well-known poet in the East Village of the turn of the century, actually, just so you know, and can prove my bona fides as to knowing what the hell I'm doing. I don't know who's the next.
Number 2.
Sheriff. Oh no, we don't. I think we have a. Don't think we have a number 2. Who's the next one?
Number 2 is Buford.
Yeah. Oh, he's the second. Buford Bunnan. Give him a round as he comes up here. A man of baseball, a man of love, a man of passion, compassion, reason, and season.
All right, baby. Come, baby.
Yeah.
Please say, what do you know?
I didn't have much of a move to first, but I was pretty good throwing it to the plate. So this is called you and I are lucky. You with your job where you work at home. I with lots of time off from teaching part-time. And she wants me with goatee and short hair like the beatnik I sometimes am.
Okay, Antoinette, Owen, and Tommy.
So Antoinette is next. Give her a nice round as she comes up here. She has been a co-host, so she has survived it. Just so you know, it can be done.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Quiet.
Hey, I
Yeah.
got a couple.
Thank you, Huntley.
Got a couple.
Thank you, Brady.
My daughter is full term or waiting for her baby. So
Oh,
this is-
nice.
There's this. Just one daughter, full term, on hold, first grandson, sunny wild, babe belly, taunt wide, wondrous event inside. Every first now waits hours or days, blow horn, hair bell, communicate. Without knowing, they stood to the call, lesbian, feminists, birthing boys to compassionate men, world revolutionized subtly within. We recognize salvation, all people, a part of whole, cured, not more than, not less than, or equal to, but same as, always. And then a short one, it says, fog skies cover us here, streetcar to mission, it's usually clear, sun beats with drums, cool energy rides waves like surfers never see shade, or country songs relate instead, jazz, blues, fusion, rap, find corridors in spaces unseen and apart, we mingle, people pause for melodies in crosswalks.
Oh. Antoinette.
Owen, Tommy, and Richard.
So he's coming back onto the open. He was the keynote, now he's reading his own. And give him a nice welcome back. Yes, I couldn't remember his name.
Street sonnet. The quick pace, the puddles, the buildings, a rainy sharp aftermath of the buildings, the downpour of the day before tried to tell me that yesterday the sky was gray, to tell us that the sky is willing to tell us something about how to fear ourselves. There is a penance about sunny weather, as if it is there to tell us that we have let things down, that there is haste, that the brokers shall roar like beasts, instead of juggling in front of sirens and street corners. On rain-soaked 6th Street, I am made to seem alone. My mind a street full of angels, as if my poetry is what I think people should, well, it was what I think people should have read. But we're too busy being precocious as a flock of sparrows, miles above me, in the sky. New rain. Another day of old sun and new rain. Another day of the not so new that insists on itself, and the new of the light and the moon. Pain is pain, and I am made insane. When the sky is alone with dew, and the frost is beginning to vanish. Canoe ahead, your strokes are sure, as vain as the dark shadows on the ledge. Of course I am a sledge. Moods and feelings cannot be accounted. Edge my thoughts, they love voice. Prudes, stoods, all say they are one with the gray air. Days of naysay, kin and kith. April Fool. One that April on another day. Pity my world on April and no earth to see the sun wane and the moon to shine like new. It makes me wonder where it has been. I've looked through my window and have not found it. Maybe it has been hiding on the edge of Northumbria, but I have not seen it since. It hid behind to cry at the sun and pine away for the clouds and rain. The wind has made the earth cool and forbidding, and I a fool's fool, and will remain so, or I am not your Uncle Duckle, getting drunkle on wine and words, and a Lord who knows. Titanic. Sunk below, the quiet ship lumbers, sunk below, the quiet ship lumbers beneath the waters in the freezing North Atlantic. Storm and ice, sneezing and storms, San Francisco cold numbers. The magic is not in the air, slumbers in nothing, being in nothingness. Wheezing and coughing, wondering what fiery sleazing sart who must take a fumbler with words, a would-be saunter like myself, the always present Big O's. Paddling my pencil towards the open mic of Bethlehem, born-again gigolos who cannot get a date, no way to relate, rate, or create anything new. A short poem. If I were a little man, a one-inch tall plastic cowboy, a kid's little man, I could climb upon a line of iambic pentameter and swing on a hexameter as if they were monkey bars. Poonder in heaven. Our cat who lusted up and down our backyard, fell around, was slain by old age, and listening on the right side, hid jaundice-looking fish pond eyes, and a murky patience looking through our looking glass lives.
Thank you, Mr. Uncle.
Thank you very much.
Uncle. Dog. You shouldn't have said Uncle. Oh, can you put the name of the poem on that? Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. And who's next?
The next is Tommy. Tommy and then Richard.
Tommy! Come on, let's hear some applause out there. No one's from New York around here? Come on, some applause around here. No one's from Berkeley around here, Philadelphia? Come on.
Okay.
South Philly.
Yeah.
My brother went into the army during the Vietnam War to get away from Papa. The two never got along. He returned a complete stranger. I thought they had sent back the wrong person, or maybe he was merely a restless soul on his way to the beyond, drawn to the old neighborhood to sort through the memories and the things he left behind. His remains splattered on some bone and Agent Orange-filled battlefield, too many shattered pieces to gather up and ship home. I just wanted my brother back. I snuck off to anti-war marches, read underground newspapers I picked up in the radical bookstore, cursed the Pentagon, the people who made money from war, the politicians who didn't have the guts to challenge it. When I asked my brother what happened over there, he didn't answer. Whatever it was, it gagged him when he ate, made him wake shaking in the middle of the night, and disappear for long stretches of time. There was nothing I could say or do. At least we still shared the music. Billy and Miles and Coltrane. I would talk. He'd seem to be listening, but he wasn't. No longer the animated gift of the gab brother he had always been. All those times we sat on the floor of his room, a new record spinning on the turntable. The demons were his to battle, the struggle his to win or lose. Another working class kid who would never return from the war. I felt eyes peering at me as I did the gardening. I had a deal with my landlord. He discounted the rent, and I kept his prized roses alive through the intense summer heat while he was away in New York. In that small square-shaped yard, fenced in on all sides, I stripped down and felt the sun on skin that had been wrapped tight against the bitter winter cold. Too many months of wind and snow and temperatures in the teens. I felt like Adam in his garden, or Robinson Crusoe on his island. Suddenly, something shrieked. Was it a bird? "Put your damn clothes on!" a woman's voice ordered. It was coming from the next yard. I couldn't see her. I said nothing. I heard a screen door slam. I thought for a moment she was going inside to call the cops, but none arrived. I realized she had probably first noticed me from a window above her yard. It was the perfect vantage point. In the weeks to come, she would sometimes climb a ladder she propped up against a tall wooden fence, her eyes barely able to glance over it. "Ignore her, she's crazy," my landlord said, though there were times I couldn't resist waving when I thought I saw her at the window, or saying hello when I saw her outside sweeping her pavement. She always turned away. She wouldn't look me in the eyes. She wasn't crazy. She just couldn't understand. My poems can be naked. Why can't I? As far back as I can remember, I've always been a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. I grew up at a time when doctors declared round natural, square a deviation, an abnormality, an abomination. They said my shape wasn't destiny, but I couldn't alter it. No matter what I did, they offered me therapy, drugs, shame, castration. Military leaders said that my kind would lead to the fall of the Western civilization and cause the enemy to win, though I could never keep track of who the enemy was. Spiritual leaders condemned me to eternal hell fires. They swore I'd provoke their always punitive, rarely merciful deity to send floods, earthquakes, wipe us all out. I drank to cover the pain, tried to put on the appearance of being round. Sometimes I fooled them. Mostly, I fooled myself. Then I realized they were all square pegs too.
Tommy!
Richard May.
Renee! This may be Richard or,
No.
I will never do that again, I promise. At least until the next time.
So, I'm going to read something by my dear friend here, Bob. It's called The Provocateur Goes Ballistic. Women are provocateuses. There are men around who are that too, but intelligence will tell you they learned it from women. Where there are no women, then there was a woman from whom it was learned. Because men like to have many women in their lives, they cannot provoke women ipso facto. When the learning is over, they make love, and then the man is unnecessary. They have nothing to teach. And so men like to have many women in their lives because they like to know. There was a woman who wanted to be like a man, for example, and not be provocative, so she thought he provoked her. So she clicked her drink onto the bar and pushed her hand into his chest, her hand. He laughed out loud, and they wound up going together to bed. Anyway, she did not become like a man. It may not have been becoming. For her to do so, she would have had to double her scotch, and she felt safer with her Tom Collins. End of story. Yes, a woman will tell you she loves you until you decide it's a good idea to tell it to her too. But there will be secrets you discover because, of course, it is not a good idea to reveal some things. You must know this. Love is not an open book, you know, and now you do. But, of course, he didn't notice. Where was he? Forgetting the whole thing as usual, he knows so much about. It was beauty that stood for him and beauty that stands. Yes, it was beauty that showed him the way. So he stayed home that day, and all night he dreamed, I am the one. But beauty couldn't believe. So let this be the rainbow of their dreams, and whosoever shall believe shall have this love. So believe, and it is yours as well.
Renee!
So are you going to read now?
Yes, if I may.
Yeah, you're on the list. So, Give Bob a round of
He wants to go alone, and their writer friend who's falling asleep trying to deal with the situation. And he reads this. He says this. And I don't have my glasses, so it would be even harder. Let's join together and make a great book that will last forever, to mock the credulity of man. Let's persuade our more erotic poets to write about the delights of the flesh, and induce some of our robust journalists to contribute stories of famous amours. We'll include all the most preposterous old wives' tales now current. We'll choose the keenest, satirist alive to compile a deity from all the deities worshipped by mankind, a deity who will be more magnificent than any of them, and yet so weakly human that will become a bit beyond for lots of the world over, and will ascribe to him all sorts of jokes and vanities and rages in which he'll be supposed to indulge for his own diversion, so that the people will read our book and ponder it, and there'll be no more nonsense in the world. Finally, let us take care that the book possess all the virtues of style, so that it may last forever as a witness to our profound suspicion and our universal irony. So the men did, and they died. But the book lived always. So beautifully had it been written, and so surrounding the quality of imagination with which they're now, these men of mind and genius had endowed it. They had neglected to give it a name. Hereafter they were dead, but after they were dead, it became known as the Bible. When he concluded, there was no comment. Some damp languor, sleeping in the air of night, seemed to have bewitched them all. As I said, I started on the story of my education, but my highballs are dead and the night's almost over, and soon there'll be an awful jabbering going on everywhere in the trees and the houses, and the two little can't read that word. And the two little stores over there behind the station, and there'll be a great running up and down upon the earth for a few hours. Well, he concluded with a laugh, thank God we four can all pass our eternal rest, knowing we've left the world a little better for having lived in it.
Thank you, Bob Jordan.
Is there anyone who hasn't signed in that wants to read?
Yes, we have slots after the midpoint. So Nancy, I believe Nancy is next.
Nancy Blakeman?
And Bob, you want to put the name of the book on it? there you go. Just hand it back to Nancy. Give her a round. She hasn't been here in some time. Haven't seen her in a whole month of Sundays. How was that? There we go. All right, beautiful. You are framed perfectly. You don't mind me saying so.
Great. My first poem is called Red Body. After an empty winter and a hungry spring, she leaves her father's house and follows the deer trail to the meadow, unbuttons her life and sheds her old skin, Under the red heat of the gold sun, she touches the red wool coat with the gold buttons swimming in the shimmering stream, and sees the splashing bear red eyes buttoned into bristling brown fur, red gummed mouth snapping at insects. She feels the hot blue sky melting into the cold stream, her red soul melting into the blue stream of the sky, and tastes the persistent stained snow melting under the red blast of the gold sun, buttoned into the blue sky. She hears the hot woolly air bristle with the scraping sound of insects buttoned into the humming world, and sees herself buttoned into the red wool coat, buttoned into the brown body of the bristling bear, buttoned into the red body of the humming world. And now I'm going to vegetables. This one is called Mighty Zucchini. Zucchini, swollen ovary of the female flower, classified as a vegetable and easy to cook, more nutritious, more succulent than political power. Native to the New World before borders and towns, traveled east to Italy where it grew in fame. Zucchini, swollen ovary of the female flower. In summer it grows bigger than a baseball bat and more versatile. Sauté, stuff, or bake, more succulent and nutritious than political power. So easy to grow, it appears everywhere, even on the shelves of my local bookstore. Zucchini, swollen ovary of the female flower. Sits between books on Zen and the latest whodunit. Celebrity stories on sale. This squash is free. Full of nutrition and stronger than political power. Zucchinis depend on pollen spread by honeybees. No flowers, no squash, if these insects disappear. Zucchini, the swollen ovary of the female flower, a vegetable more nutritious than political power.
Wait, man.
Danny boy.
Oh, Danny boy. The gripes are voicing. Don't do that here.
Am I framed properly?
I better turn this down a bit because it's way up there.
How about am I good? Ladies and gentlemen. Well, per my habituation of the last few weeks, I'm reading poems from the Haight-Ashbury Literary Arts Journal, and I think there's probably time for 2 or 3 of these, but they're short. So, the first one is by Eric M., and I don't know how to say this, O-B-A-M-E. I don't want to say, but he's from Rockville, Maryland, so there we go.
Obama.
Huh?
Obama.
Obama, okay. I'm very bad with names. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. Bad for my back, but it's safe. Not as safe as my home was, but it's a good roof over my head. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad, beats the homeless shelter on the streets. Sought emergency housing, had an appointment at 3, arrived at 2:50, sat in the waiting room for 40 minutes before I left. Seemed to be a lot of drug addicts over there. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. P.O. box at the post office, internet at the library, brought a portable TV. Washed my clothes at the laundromat, brushed my teeth in the mall before the stores open. No rent, no utility bills, saving money. Oh, can you get that? Sorry, that was going from the last person. I forgot to undo it. Sorry. Where was I? Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. P.O. box at the post office, internet at the library, bought a portable TV. Washed my clothes at the laundromat, brushed my teeth at the mall before the stores opened. No rent, no utility bills, saving money. Shower at the gym in the morning, go there at night. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. Homeless, but I'm not on the streets, not depending, but spending the night in my storage unit at the post office or at McDonald's 24/7. Discreet, don't want anybody to know my secret. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. Used to be a night owl, can't do that anymore. Not sleeping well or eating healthy. Someone parked in my spot, okay, new spot. Hope cops don't wake me, not bothering anyone. My bank won't accept my P.O. box. At a 24-hour giant, 100 open spaces, and this guy parks right next to me. Okay, new spot. Hope cops don't wake me, not bothering anyone. At a garage, security knocks on my window, says, I can't sleep here, it's not safe. Okay, new spot. Hope cops don't wake me, not bothering anyone. Sleeping in my car isn't so bad. Not spending the night under a bridge, in a tent in the woods, or on a bench. Not as safe as my home was, but it's a roof over my head. Sleeping in my car is not so bad. And this is from Loretta Diane Walker from Odessa, Texas. Why I came to the funeral drunk. This eulogy, propaganda for my pain, words wasted on me. Even now, with sorrow scaling the air, my mind is a megaphone shouting, berating me for failing. Only 2 drinks. I try to think about this happiness, my umbilical cord pumping protection, the wet world of my womb where he grows. Months are 9 hands ripping him from me, thrusting him on a path I cannot follow. One day he's a toddler dragging a blanket across my feet, his independence waddling behind. One day he's a teenager dangling car keys, trying to hypnotize me with his joy. One day he's the man dodging bullets and shrapnel. I try to dodge the bottle. Today, the American flag, a pall on his coffin. This black dress, tradition, mourning, is colorless. Greedy death, fresh as the first fruit of light, reminds what I grasped with both hands, and grinding teeth is a vapor, casting eyes in my direction, it mocks me the way they do. How can she be? She lost him to one. They think tearless eyes and the pale yellow liquor swooshing around my spirit make me drunk. I am sober with grief. Death, I'm coming for you. That's what a mad mother does. That's what a good mother does. Go after that which puts her child in a deep hole of hard clay, buries it like a bone. Thank you.
David E.
David E. David E. I'll stop that right now because I'm off tune and, you know. How you doing, David?
Everybody's confused. This is David E.
Dan.
Oh, thank you. Oh, the pen. Thank you, David.
This first one is called Phlegm.
Phlegm?
You cannot steal my patrimony, cannot change my fate. Intent to steal my country, soon you will be late. Soon you will be past tense, soon you'll be passé. Soon power of the people will toss you over the wall. Then, when you're on the outside, intent on looking in, all your gold will leave us cold. There's nothing you can win. Integrity has never been a term you've understood. You'll find it's never practiced by bigots wearing hoods. It is unknown to shysters, grifters, cheats, and thugs. Counterfeit are you, a plug nickel, you're a slug. So when you're grabbing pussy or sloshing in her pee, we know you for just what you are and all that you can be. Each member of your cabinet crawled out from under a rock. Why not the dumbest and the worst? They're shyst, they're kitsch, they're schlock. Nepotism, sycophants all follow the bad seed, laying their burnt offerings at your altar, that of greed. Nero and Caligula, a pair of panty waists compared to you, the paragon, the model of bad taste. Doesn't need a name. It's self-explanatory.
We know.
No matter the location, if a playground is filled with children, a 3-year-old will feel at home. And that's I wrote today. We learn from joy, we learn from pain, from time of day, from amount of rain. Deploy materials with rapt attention. Observe results with comprehension. Old and new blend seamlessly. High tide line where land meets sea.
I like that.
And this is from my brother-in-law, Don Kaiser, who died an hour and a half ago in Philly, so I'm going to do this for him. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
stay up there.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone, but,
Is what?
This guy and then you.
It's not the same. His brother-in-law is not the same.
Yeah, fine.
could I get?
Huh? What do you need?
I'll get something to eat after.
Okay, all right. Well, oh yeah, that's probably
Nice
smarter thing.
jacket.
Oh.
Oh, no, scarf, yeah.
Scarf and a jacket.
The
Oh, this is the
jacket
cursive
is
writer.
35
Please recognize this individual here. Much though he doesn't like being recognized as such. We used to call him several things, but now we call him the cursive writer.
I'll do the first one without you. Oh,
Okay.
You gonna do the first thing without you?
No, we'll do the first one.
Together? Yep.
This we'll do together.
There,
All right.
I'm sorry.
Give it up for Dan Brady. All right, that's enough, that's enough. We don't want his ego to go too far.
Yeah, it doesn't take much with me. I'm a balloon head.
So you want me to play this?
Yes. All right, this is called Let's Just Kill It. USA's killed Harlem before I got there. They killed the Fillmore after appreciating its beauty. New Orleans music, still alive, diminishes after the flood. USA's very good at negativity, destruction, murder, rape. Not so much on the good stuff. Humans can change that,
When asked people from other countries or those who live here, do you think USA's a happy or a somewhat content country? The answer is a resoundingly no. Faces on the bus, streets confirm malaise, lack of joy over USA, and why not? Look at our collective karma, not looking too good. Everyone's looking busy doing something, anything, but to be lost in their own thoughts? No, 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 no. In your own thoughts? Let's just kill your thoughts. There are no choirs outside USA's churches praising, unless politicians loading up on cash, most poor going in, millionaires going out. Angels no longer fly over USA. Animals no longer just give it the fight for your laying them waste. Coyotes here claiming back the territory. Their lawyers are still searching law books, precedents. Wolves in consort. Foxes are there to outwit those who need outwitting. No, USA, it might not just be as easy as killing everything. World court of life to be held for the two-legged. Time to access the assessor. Yeah, play this. Play with this one. This is called, I've heard it before. I've heard and seen much of all this before. It might have changed in many different languages. When asked why, it's never answered. Standing with yes men, this is the age of rump speak. A language that makes everyone less than human, that is all rump. Hail, master of lies, flies. Ashes fall from the mouths of the many gods' dignitaries. As birds fly over, defecate, sea rises, tells everyone not to worry as rump moves to higher ground, looking for tax breaks, workers he can con, never to pay for his own paradise. Hail our sovereign Lord God! Hail Caesar, George, Nero, Caligula! Lucifer wants nothing to do with this guy. He's only burning Columbia, but the empire as well. Losers as all will see in time, a fat, infantile loser whose talent is throwing fits, breaking things, pitting people against one another. A builder? Ha! Says Lucifer. He is the destroyer of things. Haven't you noticed? Yeah, stay with me. Yes, stay with me. This is the last piece. This is not your world. There are supposed leaders who think that they have the right to threaten our world as they threaten each other. Little people with little minds in big places, infantile in their development, stuffed, overfed bullies. Men who usually have small thumbs. This broken eggshell planet is not yours to do with what you want. For your own vanity, you rude, crude boy can't be prettified. Humans will push up against each other. It's how we handle it that matters. Let's not lose our humanity. How long do you think you can keep shooting and blowing each other up? Can't continue down to the road of nowhere, it's clear. As sure as volcanoes blow, warning signs go unnoticed, will blow, taking us down this whirlpool. Oh. These played out rules are just that, played out. New directive not to be set in cold, molten rock. These grotesques of humanity must instead fight each other. No proxies. Dressed as the sumo wrestlers, flesh on flesh. Oh, won't that be something to see? Thank you.
Chris and Ryder.
All right, you're surprised to see me up here again. You're saying, what's that guy doing up there? James, he comes up here every 5 minutes and then you just sit down and shut up.
Dan Brady, everybody.
Thank you. Well, our teacher has arrived. I was going to do something special, but he arrived when someone else is speaking. You don't want to interrupt someone who's speaking to announce that. But he is here. This is Will Crossman. He's going to be up here in a moment. But first, I'm going to do some introductions here. This does not count as your time. Just here we go. Now, you've been here like a few times over the past few years. I remember, that's my memory. So I want to make sure I have the right person in my mind, because I could be talking about somebody else, and that would not be good. And you remind me of the name of your book again?
It's War in America.
War in America. Now, that book came out 25 years ago, right? 25. It's close to the anniversary. Yes.
A first edition.
First edition, yes. And so at the time, it was read in various places and various circumstances. Protests, I remember, you said, right, correct? And so what was the context? The text of that book was given a wide audience, and various editions sold out over the times. And now it's the 25th anniversary of that first printing. And not exactly today, but this is the time period. If you cast your mind back 25 years, I know that a lot of people would say, where's my ticket? I want to go back there. Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, you look at the world today and you go, back then I didn't think it could be like this. It was bad enough back then in my own mind, but I'm thinking you can't get much worse than this. We're at the bottom, we got rid of Nixon by then, but still, you think that's, and now we're thinking Nixon is like, so he has a perspective of history, perspective of activism, reality, a good heart, a person who has gotten up and said words that needed to be said when it was probably not safe to do that. So I'm going to let him take the mic at this point. I'll set it just for him. He'll be reading, and then we'll take a break after that. The second show starts after that. But Will Crossman, give him a nice round of applause, please. A beautiful writer, a good writer, a man of heart and conscience.
And let me make sure I got you
A little lower.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure that's good for you, and then I'm gonna frame you for things you haven't done.
Okay, thank you, Dan, for those lovely words, and also, it's iffy to be a truth teller today, as it was in the past as well, as you know. And we poets are, if nothing, tellers of the truth. So, this book, War in America, and by the way, I have copies over there to sign, since we have an audience of poets. It'll be half price tonight, so $5 will get you a copy, and I'll be glad to sign it. And Les Gottesman, who's sitting right there, who is the publisher of this book, of Julie Rogers' book, and of David Meltzer's book, and believe me, 40 plus books that Les has published. Omerta Press, Omerta, of course, The Kiss of Death to fascism and other things we want to give a kiss of death to. Let me use a minute of my time just to say I think it's useful just to add a couple things to Dan's introduction. I always like to know who the poet is who's reading. I thought it was great that Nellie Wong last week told us about herself and growing up and how that enters into her poetry. I've read I'm a little flustered, and I'll tell you why. It's easy. It's a quick tell. It's why I'm wearing black. It's why I was late. And it's some of my important history. I've been a longtime human rights activist. I'm a longtime professor in colleges and universities, teaching philosophy and critical thinking, writing, ESL. About 2 years ago, I said, okay, I've done that for 50 plus years. I think I'll retire. and I got the itch just recently to get back into it. But I've also been sort of a lifelong activist around issues of prisoners, prison reform, political prisoners in the US and so on. And so I have just found the perfect outlet to tie those threads together. And once a week I'm going up as a volunteer to San Quentin Prison to co-facilitate sessions on justice. And it's exciting, I love it. And as we were walking out of the classroom, the alarm rings, and that means you stand in place. Everybody, all the prisoners, fall to the ground. We visitors can stand, but we can't move. And the time went on, and the time went on. And we visitors have to wear black because the prisoners wear all the other colors. And if something comes down when the guard towers have to start shooting, they can see we're in black and don't shoot us. So that's why I'm late.
Wow.
A couple of poems from my youth when my family moved down from New England to South Florida, and I mentioned this to some of you when you were here. Segregated South Florida in a white-only town by law, a sundown town, meaning blacks have to be out of it by sundown, out of that town. There's a thread that runs through this book, a black thread where I've compiled poems that focus on my connection as a young child through the decades with black culture. I'm also a jazz pianist. Thank you for that, jazz. I've accompanied, this was at Bird and Beckett, Jenny Lin, Nellie Wong, David Meltzer on the piano as they read their poetry. What an honor. This is early, following my dad when he was stationed during World War II in the Deep South. I didn't see the war in America when I was 4, dressed in my soldier suit, posing for photos on my dad's shoulder at the Carolina base, my eyes drawn past the barracks at black men in stripes and shackles, stumbling off the flatbed truck at the edge of the woods, their clanking chains in the turpentine pines around us laying a silence as black women boiling lye and fat for soap set aside paddles. Black pitch gatherers rested machetes to watch the prisoners scythe the drill ground in bitter rhythm. This war my eyes were seeing, I didn't see when I was 4, watching skies for signs of invasion by foreign powers, confident that war, if it comes, would come from over there, overseas. From my dad's shoulder, I smiled at the camera, thinking, war almost over. Soon we go home to Connecticut. And of course, the war went on for 5 more years. That was the Second World War. We finally moved after the war for my father's health to the Deep South. This is called Soda Bottles. My high school years in that same segregated by law town. Soda bottles. Harry, Charlie and I drove Charlie's chopped down Mercury west along the 2-lane highway dividing our town from Blacktown. 45 miles an hour, windows rolled down, jasmine breeze blowing our hair. I reach over Harry's shoulder, turn the radio dial till I hear James Brown. Headlights surveilling unpainted porches, front yard gardens, faces of black children drinking sodas in the front door light of a small grocery store across the border. Charlie slows to 25. Dual glass-packed mufflers growl. The red and blue the red and blue Royal Crown labels on the soda bottles, the mouths and, I'm sorry, I have to catch my breath. This was a public trans race to get here. The red and blue Royal Crown labels on the soda bottles, the moths and blue-tailed flies diving at the screen door, the children standing silent, moving only their eyes as they watch us pull close. Harry sticks his head far out his passenger side window, shouts, "Chocolate monkeys!" Slides back inside. I say, "Harry, that was fucked up." Harry says, "You're fucked up." A soda bottle smacks against our rear window. Charlie floors the gas pedal. We tear out of there. Last week I read a poem about Thelonious Monk's African piano. Here's one called What Bass Clarinet Says, for you woodwind players there. What bass clarinet says, "I'm a weird-looking black-skinned woodwind." Have any of you seen a bass clarinet?
Yeah.
It looks like this. "I'm a weird-looking black-skinned woodwind, a lion, goat, snake chimera of unlikely parts, from mouthpiece reed through African flute to toy bell bottom. But when played by Eric Dolphy and David Murray, I say Black history."
Amen.
In my low register, I speak of the creaking hulls of wooden slave ships at sea, of the groans of shackled Africans stacked one above the other, of the deep grief of mother and child sold off from each other, of the final throaty gurgles of a black man lynched, of the calloused palms of cotton pickers rubbed together in prayer. In my high register, I scream of the pain of the slave master's lash, of the pain of a mother birthing a child she know might die too soon, of the unchained, unrestrained desire for freedom. In my middle register, I call my community together to speak of conspiracy, of slave revolt, of land and liberation. I'm a woodwind weapon preaching black-skinned history by any note necessary. Have time for a few more?
You have another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Because your total time is 20, so you're good. I'll
Thank
give
you.
you a signal if you want.
Thank you. This is a poem for prisoners, political prisoners. Some people think that all prisoners in prison, especially if they have black or brown skin, are political prisoners. And then there's those who apply that label to the people who started out from outside prison, being political, and have been imprisoned because of their activity to make revolution. Whatever your definition of political prisoner is, this will apply to them. So many of our prisons, even in California, are in the desert, away from family, away from communities of support and solidarity. So this is called In the Desert. And imagine this metaphor of a cactus with spines, dangerous spines, but at the top, a beautiful red cactus flower that's surviving. blood flower to the prisoners. Blood flower, you fight the spines to touch the sun. In the desert, your petals don't bend toward beckoning mirages of poisoned wells. You face the distant oasis where waters are sweet and palms protect, embrace your nation's dreams. Niger, Congo, Nile, you tap the dark reservoirs that ooze through your cactus pulp. Draw them up through constricted capillaries. Convert them to nourishment. Fertilize your own humanity. Offer us your example of love in the blossom of struggle. A couple of poems about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's been in the news lately because of the terrible hurricane that devastated it and the terrible, slow, agonizing response of the U.S. government to help the people of Puerto Rico get back on track. Of course, back on track for Puerto Rico means being a colony of the U.S. They are citizens, but they cannot vote for the president. It's a true colony, and I have to say that for decades I've also been a supporter of Puerto Rican movement for independence. So this is from some visits that I made to Puerto Rico and spoken with representatives of the independentista movement. This is Vieques Island, an island just off the coast of Puerto Rico. And maybe these events will ring a bell with you. Each dawn, the long guns blast the eastern cliffs, rehearsing for war. Vilma points to a spot out beyond the reef where the fisher people in their tiny skiffs block the warships. The ships and gunfire make fishing impossible, she says. The U.S. Navy wants the whole island for target practice. And we are in their way. She points at the floating mangrove trees torn loose from the lagoon's sandy floor. Look how they drift away in the tide, she says. That's what the Navy wants to do to us. Marta, Vilma's friend, could not give birth here. The government closed the hospital years before. Already in labor, she took a ferry to Fajardo. Her waters broke over Vieques Sound. Vilma and Marta planned the new cultural center. Will it keep some young people from leaving? Will young people and old people sit down together, eat sancocho made from homegrown roots, listen to the cuatro, discuss ancient pottery shards found in the sand? Each afternoon on the eastern cliffs, thunder replies, craters filled with rainwater, vines appear. Another town that I visited, Adjuntas, way up in the mountains. It's called Visit to Adjuntas, Puerto Rico. Flamboyant trees, sear orange. Western sky a dance in red tights. Instant nightfall wakes the coquille's squeak. The coquille is a little thumb-sized frog with a huge squeak. Squeak, squeak. And they're in the millions and millions all over the island. And they drive the gringos crazy. And the gringos want to leave Puerto Rico. And so for the Puerto Ricans, the coquille is a symbol and a material symbol of resistance to colonization. Instant nightfall wakes the coquille's squeak. Our band climbs to adhunt us. Here the people of the mountains stop the copper mines. 17 great pits, each the size of 80 bomb craters, were never dug. Hugs from our friends at Casa Pueblo. They walk us in the moonlight to the edge of town so we can see for ourselves the greenness.
Thank you. All right, just so we're good.
AIDS Memorial in the Park. Very quick poem. Golden Gate Park, that is. AIDS Memorial in the Park for David and Fred and Ferd. We tie paper cranes to helium balloons. I tie a poem to mine and let it fly. Cranes, poem, catch in the evergreens. And the last poem is called Southwest LA Spring, 1992. So looking back to the Rodney King incidents, the LA and cities around the country bursting into flame. So the first two are in quotes. Quote, after a quote, after a riot, healing must happen, unquote. Quote, the community raged, now it needs to heal, unquote. We've heard these voices before, speaking as if Southwest LA were a body with third-degree burns, and healing only meant the scabbing over of burnt flesh. A drop in surface temperature, the, quote, cooler heads back in charge. We've heard these betrayals before. Only freedom can heal a slave revolt. When warring street youths knot their colors, shoot hoops together, address their common enemy with one rhythm, it's deeper than skin deep. So thank you all.
Will Crossman, ladies and gentlemen, and he has that book here at a deeply discounted price.
So right over there, I have some books during the break if you'd like to come over. $5 a shot, and thank you, Les,
He'll be
for
signing them,
publishing
right?
this, and thank you all.
Thank you. Now, just so you know, when the break happens, this will be turned to face the wall of historical poets, and just it just keeps on going. But if just don't come up here and talk if you don't want to hear it. Be out there. So that's just so you know. And a 5-7 minutes break. We shall return with Just Cause. Thank you so much. Let me just move this.
Give me a buck.
This one has the
on your reframe. There we go. All right.
Leave it at that's an ongoing conscience. That's what's important.
You don't have to wonder where you are. Custom stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be there.
You can put it to the cursive right. Okay. The cursive right. And then you can put Richard in the parentheses.
Is that right?
I thought the guy who was at the culture was gonna be the main speaker, but this guy's been.
God, I quote the Beatles. That ain't me. I don't quote the Beatles. And I just did. I have a temporary classified information. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly.
At the culture.
Yeah. He was in solidarity. Solidarity and struggle. It wasn't exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah. They put these on trivia across each other.
Yeah, I have to check it.
You, very good. Honored somebody else's honor. So they're about.
Are we still in the
Thank you, brother. It's fun. Very good, yeah. I'm pretty proud of that. What's that? Yeah, it's disagree. Well, you know what you can tell? I know someone who will disagree with you. How are you, Dan?
And spell ticket for me.
No, because I was told that you're, excuse me, I was told you wanted to read.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let me just make sure you're on. Did you sign in already or did you not sign in?
No.
Okay, then you can go put your name like right, I guess right there, that's the next one. Okay. And write it clearly because that way I don't say it wrong.
Okay.
Because I don't like saying it wrong. I'll leave that to her. I'm only kidding.
Don't get a test.
David, I don't respond as well to Dave. When I was a truck driver, everybody called me Dave.
No, I would
Before
never.
that, it was always Dave.
I would never call you David.
What is that? It's, there's some comic that says play on your heart. There's something from years ago. I don't know, Lenny Bruce or something. Play on your heart. Yeah.
Lenny Bruce, that's where my parents and I parted ways.
Oh, I'm sure. Are you kidding me? You brought that in this house?
No, I didn't bring it in the house, but I thought it was right on. They were.
Hi, everyone is so good here.
It's funny because I go to Perry's there in town. I need to come down to City Street. There's a huge picture in front of the bar. And somebody said, who's that? I said, Lenny Bruce. She said, who?
Yeah, the first one really
I'm going back. Yeah, I saw him in Miami.
Ooh, lucky you.
When I was like really a kid.
If I get them all, I've already got it over.
It's great reading, thank you.
But
Okay.
20 minutes.
Oh, no, but I mean, the real way to do it. I have a friend from Chicago, she spells it the same way.
Okay, so.
Okay, I wanted to actually ask you
Yeah, the interpretation of the word of man. I really like it. Because my family's from Southern Valley. Yeah. It's something different. It's the code of silence. So, if the story that I'm sorry, no. That's what cooking up. Italy, Italy's got all these villages. Star, right? It's different from place to place in Southern Italy. So I know it's Friday. That's why we're big. The explanation I got was that it was a code of silence because we never knew who was going to be running the village and take
Yeah, see, that was what they're like. See, when I was 11 years old, I was Steve Allen had Jack Hill, and I just happened to be there. And here he was, and they're like, Steve Allen behind me. You can see him.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second show.
What is this, Clark?
Rhubarb. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with our second half here. Mr. Britt Peter is the final word. He kicks off the second half and brings the second half to a close, or vice versa, or both. So give him an honors proposal. He comes up here. Wait, does anyone? Britt Peter, the honorable and the mighty.
Let me make sure that for you. Look good. Away I go.
I hear the theme tonight is
light.
Light. Okay. I think every poem should have light in it and a little weather too. Light. Newton's crystal in a shuttered room, the one beam passes through. Newton's crystal on a table breaks the sun. Lush primary colors fly off. You can put your hand through them. An actual daily world painted over, not the scale of grays found in dream or wonderful noir films, but large bouquets of trees, changing water, shadowed pavement, and skin colors of all hues touched by passing light. The variety of magic through each lens. I'm a couple days older now than my father ever got to be, so I was kind of scanning through some poems where he showed up. hiking on Tam. There's a place on Tamalpais where the light changes radically in an instant. Somewhere on steep ravine trail, the canopy of trees and descending terrain creating a new mystic spot, an area of wonder, the beehive of Mendelssohn strings, the touch of imminence behind your eyes, within your chest, each time passing there.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing Tamalpais through the window at midday, Tamalpais purple, a shield in the west. My dad and I hiked there every weekend for a few years. The calm water gatherer, some say a sleeping maiden, peak, slope, meadows, tan bark, and ferns, through the window, through a lifetime, there for us, a constant. And this is from the last edition of Blue Collar Review. Guns in San Leandro. This just in, another school shooting, another mad child ignored, sloppy adults at the school, at the gun show and Congress. You want a quick response? Shut the barn door, light the candles. Hear the survivors sing out. There were 3 rifles wrapped in a blanket at our house. Growing up, a surplus Krag from the Spanish-American War, a .22, Mom's gun, and a .30-30 for bringing down deer. We all knew where they were never used. The old man finally sold them, knowing he'd never leave the city, knowing he was through hunting, knowing the Second Amendment was about redcoats and muskets, wanting instead to buy cameras for weekend hikes on Mount Tamalpais, to shoot trailside flowers with, and the deer in Potrero Meadow, a beautiful, peaceful herd.
Britt Peter, he'll be back to close the second show.
Do?
Drew DeMond. Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while. So, I'm gonna get you framed. There you go.
Don't frame him. Don't frame him. The year is 1812. Bring out the Iron Maiden. Oh man. Let's go to the graveyard. Look. Go to the graveyard, open the sepulchre. Well, I'm scared. What you bring me out here for? Open the sepulchre. Look, there's no meat on the bone. Look, the wickers when I compass run. It's due to my time. They said, shine, please save little old me. Look, little boy. Yes, ma'am. Can you help me find my pussy? He took off running. He said, you don't know where your pussy is? Then he got to be old. Horny little bastard. He went over there dragging one leg. The woman said, Dad, yes, so he grabbed it and he said, what are you doing to my pussy? But that's not the case. Let me have another drink of the shine. Spit that tummy out of your mouth. In the Carolinas, 1812, they came off the boat. They came from England as an indentured servant. They sold me 5 times, and I have to do it all over. Aboard the ship, they brought the Iron Maiden out. Sweet Iron Maiden. When you see the Iron Maiden, you straighten up and you fly right. Shine, please save little old me. And you know what? They forgot us in the Americas. They just forgot us. But what it is, tax without representation. And King George appeared again at the turn of the century. Well, I could not believe it. It is just that away. But let me have another drink and let's go a little shine here. Ain't nothing but go blind. Went blind. But let me see. We walk upon the road of time as I stood there and see. I just cannot believe it, you've seen. It's Tudelman time. Thank you.
We want to make sure we say this right. N-A-S-I, N-A-S-E-E.
I'm Nazi.
Yeah. Nazi, okay, come on up here. I didn't want to say it wrong. I hate saying the names wrong. This is her first time here, though. Come on. I don't hear it.
Thanks for the intro.
Well, we want to make sure you understand that you are welcome, and we want to hear everything you have to say.
Thank you. Okay, I don't have a title for this or anything, but I'll just read away. Do you believe in love? Can you imagine me on top of you like the weight of the world is on top of me? You see, erotic dreams and memories, it fills my head with you and me, in a world full of you or me. So selfishly we proclaim I love you when most live by the code love thyself. Like the color indigo, bright but gentle you are. You heal my scars and you don't know it. You make me smile but I won't show it. Heroic you are. You lead, a leader to mankind, breaking stereotypical views that black men don't take care of their children. But you're building a foundation for a nation, all while making a declaration to cure. You're pure, but you don't know it. You love me, but your pride won't let you show it. My love is your love, and your love is my love. I was just thinking if we could somehow make both of our worlds collide, if we could step outside of our comfort zones and create a home, just you and me, and in the future maybe a family. Allow me to speak. You're deep inside, I weep. You got my heart, let's play for keeps. I will make love to your mind far before I make love to you. I will grind my thoughts into your heart while you penetrate my wordplay, so impatient you skip to third base. Slow down, it's not a race. I'll allow you to taste my feelings. Within every stroke there's healing, like James Brown. Baby, baby, I got the feeling. The skies, I can caress your ego. Have you high in the skies like an eagle. Compliment this man so good because to the world he's just seen as a Negro. Is it a crime?
Wow. Oh, you gotta go. I thought you were stopping.
Okay. This one is called When Reality Sets In. You cannot escape reality. You cannot escape reality. Life's a whirlwind of turmoil and regret. Can I lower this?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna take it to the floor.
Sorry about that. Is that good? And you
Yeah,
can
that's
also,
perfect.
make it.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
You cannot escape reality. You cannot escape reality. Life's a whirlwind of turmoil and regret, like a lingering mess that's left me stressed and confused. You can travel the moon and sail the ocean, come up with fancy ideas and miraculous potions, but you won't mysteriously ever find another me. There's no prescription, no drug, no option to push it under the rug. You cannot escape reality. Afraid to look me in my eyes, afraid I might catch you in your lies. They say real eyes recognize real lies. But realize you have fantasized and compromised bits and pieces of your life. You made the decision to lose your wife, Comb my hair, dress real neat, prepare dinner for you like you're a part of the elite. Own my status and be your wife just to wake up one day and wish for a whole new life. Don't search for the next person to understand your strife when really you're expressing yourself. All along they want you to pass the mic. So you find a way to cope. You buy a new wardrobe and do your hair. Entertain that man that gives you a stare. I know you want to hide. I know you can't take the heat. You're drowned in drugs, how could I compete? You tore me into pieces and made me weak. Cried so hard there were times I could barely speak. But let me tell you what this did for me. Somewhere inside of me it created a beast which turned into a woman that was soft but far from naive. The blood flows through my veins at a temperate speed. My mind is strategic and now I think on my feet. My soul is awakened and I love with passion. I forgive my character you can't assassin.
Oh. Okay, well, that's good. Thank you so much. First time here, ladies and gentlemen, give her a real round. Give her a real round. Now, see. Thank you. Adolf Pickett, who hasn't been here in a long time, so give him a nice round welcome, or a square welcome, or a rectangular, you know, do it like a heap in the roll.
Thank you.
All right. All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, brother. Oh, brother, I haven't been here. I haven't been here in a while. I had 2 knee operations. And, well, recently I've been doing some exercise. I've been doing 30 minutes of exercise for 30 days. So the day is 30 days. So this is like my celebration.
Yeah. All right. Oh.
It wasn't easy. All right, here we go. When you ready, then you can see. When you get caught, heaven gives. When you ready, you can only see. What's caught for you and me is infinity. When you are ready, go, go, go. That sounds good. Well, here we go, searching. I've been searching for fun, for fun, searching for the real, not to hear how you feel, searching for thoughts without the buts, but you can't go, you're not tall enough, searching every day for the love of being first, the hug and everything that goes with being first. I'm finding that the grinding made it so. Looking for the days when all will know. I'm searching and finding, hey, oh. And this last one is civil. Who is civil? There once was a donkey who one day ran away. He ran like he was supposed to be scared. He called y'all to see him break the can. Now he's known as Mr. Key. Can you say? Can you see?
Adolf Pickett.
Mark right.
Mark, now this is another new individual, so give him the treatment, please. Come on. Don't hold him back. Come on, none of this holding back business. I didn't hear any glasses clinking out there.
Very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Listen, grandfather, where I stand. Hey, hey. Lean to hear my feeble voice at the center of the sacred hoop. You have said that I should make the tree to bloom. With tears running, O great spirit, my grandfather with running eyes, I must say The tree has never bloomed. Here I stand and the tree is withered. Again, I recall the great vision you gave me. It may be that some little root of the sacred tree still lives. Nourish it then, that it may leaf and bloom and fill with singing birds. Hear me, that the people may once again go back to the sacred hoop, find the good road and the shielding tree. I didn't write that. That's a prayer from Black Elk that I wanted to start with. But I will, from here on in, I wrote it. This is an invocation to the muse called Paint Splattered for Heidi's art group. I always wanted my life paint splattered and uncontainable as an excited Dalmatian's drool in the wind, color falling everywhere, spackling hot city pavement and dry slopes like rain, my fingers and clothes madly speckled, me like Jackson Pollock spattering everything and thereby attaching it all. Daisies, shirts, Holden's red hat, a green Slytherin cup, blue Batman cape, my yellow cat, as if by sunbeams to a center, a smoke hole, through which something like God would whisper, sing, celebrate, comfort, and justify, so I could work, so I could rest, so I could have great sex, so evenings would enter me through purple windows, simple twilight errands would be gold splashed within, deep rose darkening. Thank you. This one actually I wrote for this occasion, but forgot to print it, so I have to read it off my phone.
It's okay. Devices are allowed here.
Okay, cool.
So modern.
This is called Searching for Gary. Is it you, Gary Snyder, I'm looking for tonight in the San Francisco cafe? Honestly, we both knew Kerouac and Ginsberg would be gone by now. Life in the 2000s was an absurd proposition for Jack and unsustainable for Alan. They were city dwellers, and although cities can be beautiful, things move too fast here. Let's say you wander out one morning, as they were prone to do. Let's say the sun is just now reaching for buildings and stretching out on cobblestones, the sky's soft rose, Satori rumbling its approach. Then comes a decade, could be the 60s or even the 90s, like a truck, it plows you under. We know better, Gary. I have ridden my bike up enormous hills to temples on the outskirts of Kyoto, drinking water from dragon-shaped stone fountains, thinking of you. I've hauled wire for the National Park Service off Desolation Peak and Sourdough Mountain, where pilgrims walked searching for you. But where exactly are you now? Up near Davis, teaching, thinking, and I hope loving your life and others? Surely you wander still in the Sierras like Muir. I figure your wandering in here is at least more likely than Robin Williams showing up to try some new material out in America. Do you think, by the way, there is any of that left for either of us? America? I'd hate to be the one to tell Whitman it's all over, but we have time for that. We're both alive in the only now there ever was, and though life among the immortals so redolent of pine, as quiet, luminescent, and constant as moss and fog, beckons us both, let's sit here in good company for a bit and introduce ourselves before this black night falls into another day.
That? I don't think it'll be.
Sistina. Okay, I'll come back.
Okay, there, now, that's good. Thank you. I love those new people. They just keep on coming in and then. It's wonderful. Rob! Our mini feature of the evening.
Right now?
Yeah, well, no, we're calling the other Rob. There are 5 Robs in the house.
Next week, Rob. Come back.
Come back next week.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know.
Rob.
Oh, Rob.
Did the feature go already?
Yeah.
Shit.
Jesus H. Christ in a hamburger. Sorry. The hamburger.
Okay.
You dropped a piece of paper, I thought.
Did I?
Well, I thought I saw a piece of paper. Like, never mind. I'm wrong, as I often am. Just never mind. I won't even go there. Huh? Yeah. Sheet happens. Did I tell you my favorite political joke? Say no.
No.
George W. Bush. That's it. Well, the updated version of that is Donald J. Trump. You know, that's
Well, he'll be gone soon, then what?
You know.
The next person, they'll pick it too.
Well, they didn't do a good one this time. They rolled the dice and someone threw craps, and they said he's good enough.
Well, that's what they said in 1840. What should we do now?
We should listen to Rob.
Okay.
He's going to tell us everything.
All right. I have a poem for you that is unforgivably sad, and a song for you that is unforgivably happy. This is called Sandheads. Desensitized sandhead savants roaming round, never quite sure just what they've found, breeding and greeting a world to smother, stumbling onto this, that, and the other, their fingers making alchemistic miracles, horn-swaggling, mind-boggling engineericals, never seeing the storms that gather, how they bluster, how they blather, never seeing the ground giving way, pausing only to fuck or pray, never seeing the burning ocean, slapping on more deodorizing lotion. Those few who ungum their eyes succumb to insanity with suicidal cries.
I like that. Of course, that's just me.
No, it's not just you. We like
Did you really? That's good. I really, he needs to hear things like that.
Oh, that's a nice sound.
Yeah, well,
I didn't make it though. Maybe I can make it next time.
Yes, that's true. He's a professional. Don't do this at home.
All right.
Oh, the uke, is it?
Yes. This is a never performed song. So here we go. This is called Crappy Trails. There are 100 ways to die, and one of them's gonna be yours. So don't be caught surprised and don't be unrehearsed. It's the last scene of your play, your last chance to look cool. So let's take some time today and pray that we don't drool. Let's practice our death faces, prepare our death gyrations, try out our death rattle so we can earn our last ovation. And by the way, as I'm doing this, you're welcome to do the faces that I shout out. I forgot to mention that. This is a little cathartic exercise in little theater communal here. Here we go. Let's start with the classic. Show me a heart attack. You're on the right track. Now show me shot in the back. You might cross the path of the wrong spider or snake. You might get a fatal cramp. Show me drowned in a lake. Maybe smoke inhalation will kill you in your sleep. Or show us what you look like run over by a jeep. You're dead, we're dead, they're dead, I'm dead. Millions of spermy siblings died so you could stay. You're dead, she's dead, he's dead, I'm dead. We're all gonna die, we will not pass away. Look out, a meteorite! Oh no, electrical fire, show me burned up. That's no way to expire. We're all dead mammals walking from industrial pollution. So let's have a good laugh. Show me electrocution. You might die quick from nuclear incineration. You might die slow from nuclear radiation. Oh, my hair. You're dead, we're dead, they're dead, I'm dead. Millions of spermy siblings died so you could stay. You're dead, she's dead, he's dead, I'm dead. We're all gonna die, we will not pass away. You might snap your neck at the bottom of a staircase. Shall we spit in death's eye? Show us your cancer face. Maybe you'll be suffocated with a pillow over your face. Or show us what you'll look like floating dead in space.
Just say that.
You're dead. You might get a blood clot or subdural hematoma. You might last for decades. Show us your vegetative coma. You're dead, we're dead, they're dead, I'm dead. Millions of spermy siblings died so you could stay. You're dead, she's dead, he's dead, I'm dead. We're all gonna die, we will not pass away. You might be a meal for a 10-foot alligator, or in some fancy hotel, vivisected by elevator. You might freeze to death after falling through the ice. You might die humping. Wouldn't that be nice? A bow, chicka bow wow, a chicka bow ah. You might stroll under the wrong coconut tree or die of stupidity. Show us your drug OD. A pissed off hive just might leave you stung. A pissed off mob just might leave you hung. You might be hit by lightning, a 1 in 3,000 chance, or die from surgical screw up. Even with medical insurance. A tiny cut might lead to lethal blood infection. And that guy right there, probably lethal injection. The odds are 1 in 100 that suicide will be your call. But mad cow would be worse. Is it dormant in us all? Yes! One guy OD'd on deodorant. Death by laughter took one fella. A skyscraper icicle might impale you. Or maybe a beach umbrella. Bob Marley died of soccer. Other rockers choke on vomit. Elvis and Lenny Bruce checked out from a squeezing too hard to a shit. Thank you very much. You're dead, we're dead, they're dead, I'm dead. Millions of spermy siblings died so you could stay. You're dead, she's dead, he's dead, I'm dead. We're all gonna die. We will not pass away. There's just no way to know how you're gonna go. Decapitated in a tornado. Then give your final crowd a real show.
Our mini feature of the evening. Wow. And now we're going to make quite a segue from this melodramatic individual here. I don't know if that's a good term for him, but he said I could say that, and I can spell that word and know the meaning. But Sharon Scott Kish is coming up here, telling us the tales of long ago. And oh, thank you so much.
There was smoke. Get my chair out of the way.
That's okay.
That's not a chair. That looks like a
Seat.
All right.
Thank
Thank you so much. Very
You
good.
ready for the kids?
Yeah, we're ready. And crazy kids.
The kids in Kansas City. By the way, happy birthday, all Leos.
And happy birthday.
Hey, Leo.
you.
Oh, that's right, it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tomorrow,
I'm one of them.
Tomorrow, Mick Jagger's 75.
Hey, okay.
I don't want to hear it.
Shut up. Friday, I'm 75.
Well, happy birthday. Doesn't look a day over 74.
72 and a half.
70.
Okay, this is called the Squire of 27th Street. Aurelius Pinter lived across the street from Aunt Marge and Uncle Buster. His house was pretty grand up on a hill, terraced hill. Corner, it really stood out. Lawn trimmed to the nth degree. It was like a rippled hill. No walkways or bricks to separate it. He always paid top dollar to have it mowed. Most of the boys would skip it because this man was a bitch. So another guy, Mr. Evans, who took care of a lot of homes, would come over and cut it. Aurelius was an attorney, always signed Esquire to papers, even to his damn grocery list. We respected his knowledge. Many of our families had used him. He was an pompous ass. His wife, Emma Lee, as she pronounced it, was homely thing, pawned off on him by her father, a local doctor. Educated woman, but she had a shrill voice and she resembled olive oil. Their son, Herbert, a little clumsy boy. My grandmother used to say, he's Mr. 5 by 5. Poor child, such as they expected so much of him. Emma Lee would daily remind him of how long they waited for him, and she almost died in childbirth. Mrs. Gibson says they should have waited a little longer. That would get a chuckle from the girls. Aurelius wasn't too keen on Herbert playing outside with the rest of us. Outside on the lawn. Occasionally they would walk a brace of spaniels around the neighborhood. Great looking dogs from a breeder in Iowa. For this stroll, they were decked out. Sport coats, hats, gloves, and still Herbert looked like Humpty Dumpty, my grandmother said, in a tweed coat. First part of summer, he was sent to Maryland to stay with even more stuffy relatives. They would come to town, and they knew that what was missing was they could not have beer with us or play with us. So, these were old people, and they brought their son rounder than Herbert. Their son, Theodore, was allergic to everything. They drove to town, and they even brought a mattress for him to sleep on. So he didn't really play with us. Ice cream man, that was out of the question for the two boys. So of course, there were street games and sports they could not participate in. Both families would sit on the porch when it was warm, and they were like old pigeons drinking iced tea. Some of the men outside would come in contact with Aurelius Pinter, since he belonged to the lodge, so we had to behave, and we could only creep around and do the misdeeds we wanted to. The neighborhood theater, the Carver, we'd make faces at him, and when his cousin came and they sat in front of us, we couldn't wait to bring out the pea shooters. The boys would thump them on the head, and we loved it, especially on their freshly shaved heads. Emily decided that she would give an ice cream social one Saturday. Many neighbors invited. Most of the adults did not want to go, but seeing he was a big mucky muck, couldn't refuse. Thunder showers in the summer, usually about 4, threaten things in the afternoon. Friday night sleepovers, girls have theirs, boys camp out in the backyard. No one wants to dress up on Saturday, starch, and eat little finger sandwiches, or go sit on the porch with them, especially the boys. Reggie has a plan, TP. Yeah, let's TP the yard. Well, how are we going to do this? Well, it's going to rain. Well, maybe it's not going to rain. Don't worry about it. Fast forward, here we go. Over to see Ben at the supermarket. I say, Ben, they're giving a party on Saturday. He says, yeah, I know. Emily has been ordering things all week. Oh, well, we want to TP the place. How are you going to do that? We're going to do it, but we need more toilet paper. Well, Liebchen, I don't know. How are you going to do this? I said, well, we need toilet paper. He says, okay, bring your wagons. All of a sudden, there's this little parade of little kids, red wagons, down, radio flyers down the alley. Tons of us dragging our wagons. And Ben is in the basement unloading toilet paper. Here we go, toilet paper in basements, under beds, closets, you name it, trunks of father's cars. Day comes, Friday night, we have our usual chili or spaghetti, hamburgers. The boys are playing over at their places, and the girls are playing at theirs. The boys are lucky. They could sleep in their clothes. The girls really can't. So we keep our clothes on, and we put our nightgowns over it. We have to wait till dark. Everybody's got their big band, their Gene Autry clock, and we've got them set. We've got them timed. Here we go. Wake up the sleepyheads ahead of time. We've got flashlights. Every kid's got a flashlight. We'll leave water out by our back doors. Time to go. We meet out the side of the house. We hope the dogs won't wake up, but the dogs know us. So we creep up and we start toilet paper. And we start wetting paper down, and we start putting paper on everything, from the doors, the swing, the beautiful swings, the hedges, and we go back to bed. Next morning, lots of talk. Downstairs, and everyone's home or outside. Seems as though vandals have toilet papered the house. The party is over. That's all, folks.
I look at that as a form of activism. There was just a brief thing. There was a company that was going to put up a swimming pool in our neighborhood, but they were putting it in our vacant lot. That's where we would ride our bicycles and play baseball and everything. So what we did was we didn't know what to do, and they put all these stakes in the grounds and the flags and the ropes and stuff like that. So my brother and I knowing math, we said, all we have to do is take these stakes and just move them a few inches this way or that way. And we did that, and no one, the pool never happened. You never know. So anyway, she brought this up. So, and now Karen Huff hasn't been here in a while. Give her a round of applause as she comes up. Then we got Jim, and then Evie, Bill, Sharon, Garrett, Britt coming back, and then Richard. Actually, Richard then Britt, because Britt's the closer. So there we go. Nice to see you again.
Thank you. And by the way, my brother would appreciate you, because my brother Joe was of the, and still is, of the absolute belief that any city planning or zoning should require that there be a vacant lot at least every 4 blocks, because it's the most creative place on earth for kids to play.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. You can catch air on this little bump about this tall. Okay.
So with all this jazz tonight, I had to do this one because I grew up in a very musical family. My grandmother got about 2.5 sheets to the wind one night when I was about 5 at a supper club. Walked up for no good reason, planted her ass on the piano where this guy was playing piano for the club. And instead of throwing her out, they offered her a job. But it wasn't until about 1968 that a particular musician that used to play on the beach in Venice, California, taught me that music was absolute magic, that you could get lost in it, that it was maybe the oldest magic on earth. And this guy could play from supper time till daybreak, and you would swear that he never repeated anything. So this is called Blues on Venice Beach, and it's for all you musicians. Strong brown fingers dance almost too fast to see. flood plays to the sea, to the beach and the sky, to the girls that prance past in halter tops and bell-bottoms, never wonders why they dream of his crooked nose and calloused hands. You know, he's not a handsome man, but even so, he plays the EAB 7 12-bar blues for 72 minutes straight without repeating a single riff. Says, "Ain't that nice?" when a girl hands him some gin and ice. Smiles, takes a hit from someone's J, sighs, and then picks up his axe, begins again. Those of you that know me know that I'm a middle school English teacher. And this was inspired by a rather rude interruption to my summer vacation. Floral offerings for mice and other students. Summer reading assignment, flowers for Algernon. Well remembered after 50 years. A classic, a good choice. How do we define who we are? Who are the different ones? Ethics in the laboratory. Possibility does not equal mandate. A gem of wisdom still. Until a parent writes my principal, appalled by my immorality, exposing her child to evil, page by page references, foul language, damn and hell, homosexual, girls having periods, boys having involuntary emissions, atrocities affronting Christian parenting. The change is made. I dream of returning to school with censored stamped upon my brow in scarlet ink, teaching only Disney movies for approved curriculum. And this one was also for my students. Lesson 17. There are hurricanes, earthquakes, fires, threats of nuclear annihilation. Students asking, is the world ending? Yes, it is always ending, and beginning and ending, and beginning somewhere between hope and despair, between creation and extinction. There is no guarantee that if you are a good girl, heaven will not have been obliterated by someone's bombs a week before you get there. Your assigned seating may have been eaten by a rabid meerkat. Your money worthless, based only on the taste of artificial salt on a politician's tongue. Still, if you learn to surf the cumulus clouds, speak to ravens, and listen to the conversation of stones, you may become the Messiah you are seeking.
Thank you. And now the mighty James Finch will be holding forth. And then who's after James?
Abby.
And then Bill and Sharon, I think, yeah.
Well, there certainly is a lot to speak to. I was going to read a poem of somebody named Maysfield talking about pirates, though we all seem to be subject to them one way or another. And I've had some thoughts. Slipping into darkness. I enjoy rum, whether it be from Humboldt or from the Jamaican sun. I enjoy rum, but we seem to be slipping into darkness. You can't teach about flowers, you can't teach about love, but we're all slipping into darkness one way or another. It comes for us. Hopefully it's a smile when you get there. Hopefully it's an embrace when you feel it. Hopefully the history you've had is enough to suspend the darkness for a while. Now, I came across this book, and it belongs to my wife, who you just enjoyed reading, or listening to, as it were. And she's quite the sailor, though we miss the sea, both of us. And this is, well, about a pirate by a guy named Thackeray. We were schooner rigged and rakish with long and loosome hull. We flew the pretty colors of the crossbones and the skull. We'd a big black Jolly Roger flapping grimly at the fore. We sailed the Spanish water in the happy days of yore. We'd long brass gun amidship, like a well-conducted ship, and we each had a brace of pistols and a cutlass at our hip. It's a point which tells us again, and a fact to be deplored, but we chased the goodly merchantmen and laid their ships aboard. Then dead men fouled the scruppers and wounded filled the chains, and the paintwork all was splattered, dashed with other people's brains. She was boarded, she was looted, she was scuttled till she sank, and the pale survivors left us by the medium of the plank. Oh, then it was, while standing by the tariff rail on the poop, we could hear the drowning folk lament the absence of their chicken coops. Then, having washed the blood away, we'd little else to do than to dance a quiet hornpipe, as the old salts taught us to. Oh, the fiddle on the forecastle, the slapping naked souls, with genial down the middle, Jake and curtsy when she rolls. And with silver seas around us, and pale moon overhead, and the lookout not a-looking, his pipe bowl glowing red. Ah, the pig-tailed, quilting pirates, the pretty pranks we played, all have since been put a stop by the naughty board of trade. Schooners and merry crews are laid away to rest a little south of sunset in the islands of the blessed. Thank you.
Edie or Evie?
Yeah.
Where is she?
He's Heidi.
Oh, there she is. She wasn't on the sofa anymore. She moved from the sofa to someplace else.
Yeah. We're over to the settee.
The settee.
Find any verse.
Find vice if you can't find it. Vice is better. Give me a cat. Just give me a cat.
William Makepeace?
Yes.
Okay.
Makepeace, Thackeray.
Yeah.
With a barbecue hot dog.
And what was the name of that?
Don't eat hot dogs because they ain't no dog either.
A Ballad of John Silver.
Oh. Okay. There we go, dear.
Help me. Oh, lower the boom. Thank you.
Is that low enough for you?
Thanks, David. Does that work?
That's great. Yeah, I like that.
Right?
It's fun.
Nice tea.
Okay.
Again, I think for those of you who've heard some of this before,
Keep going.
oh, okay.
Just
In this time of the separated families is sort of a kick every time, and what I did since my mother was had her mommy taken away, so I had a mommy whose mommy was taken away, so all of this stuff kind of, in in the paper gets to me. Anyway, this is, so with the internet, I realized, oh, I can meet my grandparents. I'm entitled to have grandparents as opposed to my mother's mother, my father's father, you know, all of that. So I reclaimed my grandparents. And this is a story about Tosca. I wish it was a story. It's not a story, but I'm saying. And it has 3 parts. Tosca. I went out again the other day looking for grandmother on the internet and found Tosca Feuchtbaum instead, a 7-year-old girl whose shy smile was captured in the photo her father clutched all those nights of not knowing, on the run. The smile of surprise, perhaps a birthday party later that day, not quite yet the end of Vienna. Went out again the other day looking for grandmother on the internet and saw Tosca and her mother at the Bahnhof being shipped east to Poland, held out till now. Same train as grandmother and grandfather. The startled testimony of the photos of children whispering, Shoah. Went out again, grandmother, looking for you on the internet, and waited patiently for the images to load on the browser. This time, it is the transit camp itself, typhus and all. And still there is no word from you. Tosca again. This time, Tosca, I printed your picture off the internet, finding you as I do every time I go out looking for grandmother. Tosca Feuchtbaum, born April 8, 1935, in Vienna, Austria. That shy smile, fulfilling the testimony of children's destinies. When I dare, I insert your image beside one in my head of grandmother, and both of you nod to the future. Tosca at the Bahnhof. Peek at Sobibor on InfoSeek. Knock, knock, is grandmother there? And find the library at remember.org. All calling, all silent. The water ripples, the sky shudders in response. Tosca at the Bahnhof, Tosca on the page of children's testimony. Click on next 10, always to the next citation. Knock, knock, is grandmother there? Peek at Sobibor on InfoSeek. Deportation statistics and the staccato list of Operation Reinhardt Aktion dates. Tosca at the collection point, grandmother between the pages of a prayer book. Daughter already escaped with photo. Peek at Sobibor on InfoSeek.
Bill Mercer. And we got, who's after Bill? Oh, Sharon. Okay. Bill hasn't been here. Actually, he's been here every once in a while, but he hasn't read in some time.
I'm not going to read tonight either.
You're not going to read tonight? Well, how are you coming up to the microphone for, then?
Well, I got some nonsense.
Oh, no. And she's going to be the reader, then?
Yes.
But I'm part of the
After the nonsense, I get to do the nonsense.
Oh, okay. All right. Wait a minute. Let me just focus you in there so you're both framed beautifully.
Are you going to trade it back? Maybe you want to take the mic out if you're going to. Are you going to alternate? Or?
That's a good plan. Thank you. Good
There we go.
Good.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
suggestion there.
And thank you.
So we're going to do. We got 2 things to do. We're going to do a little piece of summer nonsense first, and then Sharon's going to read some actual poems. So let's see.
Ice cream cone.
No, there isn't an ice cream cone as far as I know anywhere involved here. But if you have one extra, you can see me on the way out. So,
We'll go across the street.
so This is called The Trip. Tachikawa, eki desu. Kuni tachi, eki desu. Koko bunji, eki desu. Yuracho, eki desu. Shinjuku. That was so much fun.
That was erudite. You don't mind me saying that.
That was goofy.
Or goofier dite.
Goofier dite, yes, I like that.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Schon gut.
I'm just going to read a few poems by Michael Brewer, my late spouse. This is called Hungry Bears. Here I am, 50 years old, in a coffee house with Glenn Miller playing in the background. Odd how things you hate creep into your ears. Reading Satanic Pains of Sharon Olds. Trying to get on with the task of word making, even though my audience is as dead as my father, and my 15 minutes of fame exiled like bad credit. I go on inside the helical wheel of life, searching for simple food to feed the hungry black bears singing in my stomach. This is called Bluebird Park. No bluebird songs. Blue, the verdure. Bluebirds don't live in this flight zone. Jays? Yes, plenty, both screaming mean stellars and robbing furtive grays. Columbines and lilies hold the ground light below against the bats' black jazz twilight. The summertime creek tumbles over stones deposited by the last flood that broke the bars of commercial hubris. Diners beneath green umbrellas and black oak screens quietly chew the evolved flesh of Tyrannosaurus Rex's descendant, the gingerly walked chicken. And on a resurrected bench of wood, I'm feeding the bluebird in my interior tree with a memory grain of old Illinois images. And one more short one. It's called The Banjo Hour. It's the banjo hour, 8 in the morning, entertainment time. Sinewy strings jangle the metallic blues, and a lawnmower begins its monotonous war on green freedom across the street from a beeping idiot car alarm. And the Queen of Crows is calling her murder for breakfast with her cawing bell. On the other side of the wall, where my paintings hang like old coats of endearment, turn towards each other, mumbling, awake, sexy strokes of naked divinity, amid the unorchestrated jubilee that encircles the banjo hour.
Beautiful. Sharon, you're wonderful. She comes all the way from Oregon, so you know. That's Oregon poetry for you.
Garrett Murphy.
Garrett Murphy. Garrett. And then we have, we're going to change a tiny bit. We're going to do Richard, then Nicole, then Britt is the closer. So you're the actual closer guy. You know. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Dan.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No,
thank you. No, thank you.
Can I buy back my introduction?
As they say in Texas, they
Give him a round, please. Very nice. Always great. I'm going to adjust things.
Jesus, Gina. Jesus, Gina, we are just so surprised. We had absolutely no idea that our Negroid folk were so sad about life here. Gee, how is it that they weren't as satisfied as we were with their hospitality towards sparing us all our mundane work. We thought they were happy as we were about being in a lower status than we. G was just a little cross. You know, just a little prank. G, for all we knew, the good boys were simply planning her life for Halloween. Ah, gee, they shouldn't have been so sensitive about good old boy Reese joshing about erasing them with the stroke of a pen. You know he's always going off like that. Couldn't they see he's just a joke? And gee whiz, how were we to know they didn't like the initiation in their early darky manhood? You know, maximum sentencing and all. They could be just a tad grateful. Why we rushed them ahead of our own? Is that not what affirmative action is all about? Oh, gee willikers, I guess the times have caught up with us. No more funny games with Mr. Crow. Our dream has come to a crashing end. Everyone's looking and talking now, even with our strongest supporters in years in power. We're just going to have to get used to the terms black and African American, let alone sir, madam, Mr., Ms., doctor, or even the dreaded first name.
No, that's not what you're trying. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, that was a mistake. I like that, the dreaded first name.
Mario Woods has his day. The San Francisco Police Officers Association, in a recent public performance concerning the execution of one Mario Woods, displayed solidarity and unusual petulance, even after being given a chance to go first when the supporters of Woods were listening. As soon as POA was done whimpering about how so few of the populace would give them accolades for killing yet another man of color, not to mention a proposed board of supervisor bill honoring a day for Mario Woods, SF's supposed finest walks off in a huff, but not before threatening the soups with all kinds of damnation. That warning did accomplish one thing, a most pleasant surprise. It united the soups into acting as one, namely to make that day for our Mr. Woods the no pun law of the land. In a futile attempt to save their performance, the POA wails enough waterworks to empty hetchy about what about the officers who die in the line of duty. Someone neglected to tell the POA leadership that many officers do have various days, overpassers, intersections, and others named for them for dying in the line of duty. Now it is long overdue for someone to be honored to happen to die in the line of missed duty. And this just in, infantries and babies, including the crybabies, are considering joining forces to sue the SFPOA for this deafening impersonation of their characters.
That's why I like him. Aaron Murphy.
Richard. What's the boss?
Oh, he is new, ladies and gentlemen. Treat him accordingly. Come on. Is that Richard up there? That's Richard in the house. Just so you know.
Is this recording?
Yes, it is.
I have to talk to my agent first.
Yes, well, yeah. Make sure you have your good side.
Just a second. Okay. This one doesn't have a title. Started as strangers until he shed light on your existence. Watched from afar with some reservations. Drawn to your fever, the burn of a sincere passion that poured with smiles. Patience was key in this instance. We ate together, agreed on a place, took a walk, just a bark, farewell. For right now, not really invested. Okay, I'm determined, stubborn. Some messages here, small talk there, waiting for my chance. A Friday night, not reading books. Instead, I chose escapism. A distraction from the withering body of my rose. Meditation, you offered me, some peace of mind from it, grateful. It soon became a beautiful space that felt so right, yet not clear as to the boundaries we could set. I wanted to feel something real from our time together. I insisted you step into my world of disarray, cautious. I was playing to impress you, to win your attention. As we sailed away on the couch of uncertainty, music played in the background as I shut it down. Hesitant, I could tell, because you had to think about kissing. Let us be nothingness, but together we can walk these undisturbed beaches. I'll lay my world on yours. I can listen to you, and not to the approaching waves. When I shiver, it will be from your touch. I'll be engulfed by your existence. The stars will lead us, they don't care. We are universal minutia, like rocks of sand. At this beach, our feelings and experiences don't have to be lost in the shuffle of infinite time. Let's preserve our connection, make it change too, like the turbulent tides. We can rewrite our nothingness and make it our everything.
Thank you. Come back. What a nice voice. Nicole. Nicole. All right.
Thank you.
Just get really close.
Okay.
There we go.
The theme is lights tonight.
Yes.
Yes. If people are like cities, you're like Timbuktu, where I've never been. Mysterious, you're a daydream because I don't know you. Don't know you at all. Maybe you're more like Niagara Falls falling down over the dip, taking me for a ride a year later, and I still can't let go of that light sparkle in your eyes. Yes, they sparkled, glimmering like the Broadway strip, that part of New York where the night skies are lit with energy, joy, and fast-paced talk. Run all the time, you never walk. Walk the way you do down the Champs-Élysées. Maybe we'll meet there one of these days. If people are like cities, you are like LA, sunny, laid back, and carefree. So many stars have fallen from the sky, want to be discovered, hungry to be seen. But your stars are different and shine no matter what. They are bright stars without makeup, fake boobs. You work it naturally. Where did you get that twinkle in your eye? Did you buy it from the light bulb place, or did God put it there for your beautiful face? The face I wanted to kiss so bad and steal a piece of your light glow, glowing like glitter on top of the Zurich snow, mountains rolling under the Swiss moonlight. Maybe I'll meet you up there and you'll be mine. Not gonna spend my life chasing after your light, dismissing everyone else's because the fantasy is blinding me bright. So blind, I don't see the dark, just constantly searching for that spark. Maybe I'll move to London, Paris, or a little city in Spain. Forget you and all the pain your eyes remind me of, and all my dark. But you do remind me I have a heart. So thank you for the memory and all your light. Cross paths again in heaven. We'll build our own city up there and kiss the stars goodnight.
Beautiful. Nicole. Hitting that theme.
Brett.
And now Britt's our closer of the evening. He has the last word. He kicks off and closes down the second half of this show, or the second show of this. You know what I mean.
About a year ago, someone said, where was the anarchist poem? Where was the political poem? So I've not made that mistake since. Resist leaflets. Walk through the gate, come down off the hill, leave the Archon to his own demise. All of these presidents have killed people, have left people to die. This one is looking straight at you and I, the Gadadamarun kid who plays with fire. Straight jacket, orange jumpsuit, impeachment, resignation, rattle the crib to tame the cranky baby. Any and all seem like appropriate measures to rid ourselves of the foul vote, to bring down the man in the long red tie. And it all should have happened yesterday.
All right. What we're about to do. Oh, no, David, you already told you already said he was, yeah, David's the feature next week. I was going to say that we already did that. Now we're going to take care of these fancy prizes up
How are
here.
you going to take care of them?
Because, you know. So, is that a prize?
Yes.
Okay. So, when you came in, you signed your name next to a number. You'll notice that these cards here have numbers on them.
And I've been sitting up here going like this and like that and like this here, like that, and sometimes fluffing them together like this. But just so you know, the animal is place, and she's gonna like do something extra to them so that you can't think that I did anything that I never do. I'm gonna reintroduce the prizes to you. Arts and Letters Journal. The price on this is 15 cents. So this means it has to be old. Anyway, Thebes by Dale Jensen. This is a great East Bay poet. Anna Booth, Pacifica Poems 2. This is also from way back, a nice writer. And this is if you like mythology, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Charles Williams, general fantasy and mythic stuff. There's articles that if you're into that, you'll go, wow! If you're not, you're going, boring. All right. And then 2 calendars from the 2018, 2019. And then you can choose the next week's theme, be the keynote, a co-pilot. Give her a round of applause. She stayed up with this whole time. And she didn't kick me even once. And then the mini feature, which of course you saw Rob do in the second half. So now she has, she's fanned them. And let me just do this because I'll need this here. And I'll take this card. Who's number 11?
Me.
The Cursive Writer.
I'll take the keynote.
Keynote, cursive writer. Keynote. All right, and a drum roll. I forgot the drum roll part. I went like this and she moved him, man.
Pete Norton.
14. Dudamon. Is he still here?
Dudamon?
Dudamon?
He just left.
Oh man, he missed. Or I missed.
I think he tried to. I think it's what he was leaving.
Yeah. Exactly. Britt Peter.
Oh my goodness. Britt. Join me, Britt.
What's Bolensy, as they used to say in the old country?
Join me.
I'll be here anyway. I'll take Dale.
Takes Thebes. Good choice. Those Greeks are having trouble these days.
Oh
Number 5. Tommy Omega.
Gone.
All right. What's that? Sharon Scott Cash.
Gone. Oh no, she's there.
Oh, I forgot. This was a recently donated prize. Just gotta let you know, because otherwise,
Pretty sparse.